Hi everyone, Anna is here. Welcome to our weekly money date. It's been a while and I wanted to hop on and chat with you. So if you're joining me now, we are talking about conflicting financial goals. If you're here live, say hello. If you're watching in replay, also let me know. Now, what do I mean by conflicting financial goals? One of the things that I do when I work with clients, hi Wanda, good to have you here. What I do when I work with my clients, the very first step in the whole engagement is to get them actually started to think about what is it that they want to accomplish, right? That's the big question I want for everybody to think about. So as you're hopping on and trying to tune in, that's the question I have for you. What are you trying to accomplish as far as has to do with your financial life? Now, money is a tool, and I want you to remember that is used or should be used to help you get what it is that you want. Now, as you create your own money roadmap, right? You map out the financial goals you have, you map out things you want to buy, you map out when you might be able to retire, or you already may be in retirement. Basically, it's these anchors that you lay for yourself and set targets specifically identified with dollar amounts attached to them. That's how you create an actual real financial goals. What happens is that as you map those out, you might start to see that some of them actually start to run one against another. And all of a sudden you're starting to say, okay, well, how do I choose? For example, do I save for my kids' education, right? Funding, do I save to pay for their college, right? Or do I focus on saving for my own retirement? Which of these goals has higher priority? In a couple of ways, this is just an example. It could be lots of conflicting priorities, right? And I think the simple answer to something like that is it all really depends on what your timeline is, okay? I want to kind of transition a little bit to remind you the money dates are designed to help us get back on track, right? Where have you been over the last week with your finances? Where have you been over the last couple of months with your finances as we took a little bit of a break this summer with money dates? But that doesn't mean that I personally had to take a break with my finances. It actually never breaks there. What it is that you find a flow in the system that works well for what you're trying to accomplish. And so my reminder for you today is to really still understand how everything is flowing in your system. Are you paying your bills on time? Do you know how much money you need to live on? Are you managing your debts properly? And how are you going to fund those financial goals, right? And are you on track with funding those financial goals? Those are my baseline things that I need to stay on the top of all the time to be able to feel confident, right, about my personal situation. I encourage my clients and you to do the same. Now, over the next couple of weeks, we're launching a very excited project that I invite you to participate, and I'll share a link in the comments below, but I want you to build your own money roadmap because it's been some time since we looked at opportunity of how can the big idea that most people are shy to approach and think they need to have a ton of money, a ton of experience, is this: how can I create my own financial plan? So in this challenge that we're launching on September 2nd, we're going to be running side by side with you for 28 days, helping you create your own financial roadmap. And there's lots of cool things that we're doing throughout the challenge. We'll have weekly Q&A sessions. You're going to be getting homework to work on every day, daily videos, and an awesome Facebook community. So all of this is for $100. It's going to be an awesome ride. So I invite you to join us. But before we get into that, because one of the topics in the challenge will be designing and mapping out your financial goals. I find that aside from everything that goes in creating a financial plan, really narrowing down and kind of having this outline for yourself of what it is that you want to accomplish is the most difficult piece for people. And I think it really comes down to really figuring out what your priorities are. And as I mentioned, what's the timeline? So going back to my example about picking or selecting, right, where to focus on your time, your energy, and your money, in the example of, do I save for my own retirement, or do I focus on both, saving for my own retirement, and possibly if I have kids, I need to start thinking about saving for their college education. So how do I kind of run these side by side, right? And it's almost like you flying multiple planes, right? You have this plane to fly, it's gonna go for a long time. You've got this one over here, and then maybe 2 more or 3 more. And so like how do you kind of like align them in one spot? What I want you to think about when you're evaluating that, because if you have unlimited resources, the answer is really easy, just do them all. But most of us do not have unlimited resources. So therefore, we need to start putting priorities, right, onto what happens first. And the way you align your priorities and pick, and it's not priorities, I keep saying that, but it's really a priority. So the way you align this priority, right, and it's really, there's only could be one priority, right? There's could be the first thing, there could be the second thing. It's really based on what is your timeline. So if we used an example of someone who has a 7.5 months old, just like I do, little cute Liam, I've got a little bit of time, about 17 years until Liam is going to start college. My timeline is long, okay? 17 years is a long time, but it's also great because the time is what's going to allow Yuri and I to grow our money for this particular goal, to save enough for him to go to college. Now, for example, the competing goal that we have on our books is our own Independence Day, or I call that, retirement. So 17 years from now, I'd like to start thinking that maybe I have that as a goal. So what happens and how do you look at that? Again, timeline. So what's going to come first, and where are your resources are going to be best used if you dedicate it towards that goal? So if it's saving for your own retirement versus saving for other goals. Maybe at the same time you want to save for buying a new home, you want to take that awesome vacation that you've been thinking about. So same idea, right? What comes first, and what are you willing, right? Because it's like you have to say, all right, well, if I'm going to push this goal out and I know I have more time, am I going to be willing to make up for that lost time and lost opportunity to save and earn investment income on your money? So that's the question. The other thing I also want, and this is particular question that comes up a lot with clients who are like in my shoes, right? Families who have kids, because the two biggest goals that everybody has is to make sure they take care of themselves in old age, and then they also want to make sure their family is taken care of. And so the big one is saving for education, and how what's the proper way, right? Because it's not one answer that fits all. First of all. Second of all, it's hard to predict for someone like me, right? If you have young kids, are they really going to go to college? I mean, I'd like that to believe that, right? Most parents have that goal, but is that really going to be the case? So when you're deciding on something like that, whether it's an example I'm giving today or others, what is your family philosophy? So my question for you today is, what is your family philosophy in terms of what your obligations are for certain things? If it's relating to college, the question is, well, how did it work for you? Did your parents pay for you to go to college? Did you have to work? Did you get a scholarship, right? Yuri and I have different backgrounds. My parents paid, I got student loans. Yuri had a full-time scholarship, right? So there's definitely like a bit of conflicting points of view here, right? Because I might think that it's okay for Liam to have student loans, right? Because it teaches you a little financial responsibility when you graduate. Yuri doesn't think so. He thinks that he needs to work really hard right now to get a scholarship, and that's fine with me. So those are the things that you need to hash out first with your loved ones, of how that family philosophy and beliefs you have are aligned. And only then you can start kind of making steps. But I advise you not to think about this for too long, because time is running away from you, and you need to stay focused on what are your savings goals. Because I'm asking you to do this every week, right? I'm asking you to keep your money dates on target and know how are you tracking with your financial goals. So if you're saving, let's say $500 in the college savings plan and maybe $1,000 in your retirement plan, are you doing that consistently and you're not getting off track? All right, let me know if you have any questions about this topic. Check out the challenge. I would love for you to join. It's going to be an exciting ride. I'll be sharing more information and more videos, so stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.